Good morning, guys. Always a little bit of lag in my connection. Oh, I see thumbs. I see somebody's thumbs. Okay, awesome. Welcome, guys. If you're logging on, show some hearts. We're going to try to talk about some positive stuff. Oh, there's Jerry. Hi, Jerry. Amanda's on. Mary, Jacqueline, Audrey. Hi, beautiful people. Betsy. Andy, my friend Andy. Shout out to Andy Fisher. He has released over 30 pounds on his body in the last couple weeks. I'm cleanse coaching him. He's doing amazing. So proud of you, Andy. You're amazing. Whitney, Ashley, awesome guys, welcome. I was just inspired to come on for a minute. I just got off my Vax 101 recap. We do recaps on Friday in our group, and we talked a lot about all the CPS cases that are happening, and I just was texting with my good friend Shauna Marie, who's an amazing warrior, and we were just texting about the heaviness of all of it, and I just felt inspired to jump on and just to share some tips with you guys about how I personally stay balanced within what we're dealing with right now, which I believe is spiritual warfare. And those of you on the feed and those that follow this page, I do believe that we are light workers called to do good in this world and to stand up to some of the social injustices that are happening both in the food and the pharmaceutical industry and the court system and the CPS and the medical kidnappings and all of the atrocities that we are seeing here in the United States and across the world. And I get it. Hey, Colleen. I get that it's heavy, guys. I understand. I feel you. I have days where it is very heavy too. But here's what I want to share is there is way more good in the world than there is evil. And, depending on what your spiritual belief is, I'm a practicing Christian. I grew up in a household that actually honored all different religions. So I've studied Buddhism and Hinduism and all sorts of different modalities of spiritual well-being. I am a Christian who meditates. So I do, mindful meditation every day. And I just believe in the power of positive thinking, and I also believe in the power of collective consciousness. So if the collective consciousness is fearful, which is what the toxic agenda programs us to believe in, is that we are not powerful, we are not divine beings, and we are not aligned with our spirits here in the world, then the toxic agenda will engulf you. It will take over your health, your mindset, your finances. Everything will start to unravel. And we're seeing that kind of happening. It's like chaos, right, in the world. And so what I want to encourage all of you on the feed today and whoever watches this video is that if you are feeling the pressure of the world and you are, how many empaths, I've asked this before, but how many empaths on the feed, like you feel people's pain, the parents that are dealing with medical kidnappings right now, like it makes you physically sick and you can't even stand it, and the vaccine injury, and it just like you feel it in your body, right? I totally can relate to that. I feel it every day. I feel you guys on the feed right now. I'm very much an empath and a kinesthetic person, so I'm really connected into energy and source energy and all that stuff. But here's what I want to tell you is that nature is not evil. Nature is divine. And so if you're starting to feel overwhelmed by the amount of sadness and pain that's in the world, it's really time to like reconnect into nature. It's also time to rebalance your body and cleanse your spirit. So people do that in a multitude of ways, but I'm a huge advocate of intermittent fasting and cleansing. So there's all different sorts of things that you can do to do that, but cleansing is very spiritual. The Bible talks about cleansing a lot. Most of the healthiest cultures in the world cleanse their body. So if you're feeling just like out of whack, it might be time to like do a reset of some sort, whatever type of cleansing that you do. Whenever I'm feeling out of whack, I'll always do a cleansing, and it helps me get mentally reset with that. Go outside in nature. We sit a lot on our computers and on our phones, staring at each other on these screens, but go just connect with humans. It's really good to go into a room. I did a booth the other day with one of my business partners, and it was just great to like be around, like it it was a wellness center at a gym, and it was just great to be around like other humans, like off social media, right? Because it can be overwhelming if we're just looking at all the negativity on the feeds. And our movement, our medical freedom movement, has a tendency to be drawn to the negativity rather than the positivity. And I'm guilty of that too. So I get it. I get that there's a lot of kids getting hurt. I get that there's a lot of sadness with families and things that are happening right now. And I understand that it's overwhelming. Trust me, my phone rings off the hook. People call me crying. They're sharing their stories. Like, I just got a message from another, one of our warrior sisters. Her girlfriend just was forced to get the DTaP and had a miscarriage, and the baby died. So I get it. My inbox is full of trauma and full of sadness, but I refuse to live in that state of consciousness every day, because I wouldn't be a productive human, and I wouldn't be able to help people if I was overwhelmed by the sadness. I wouldn't be able to take care of my family and my children properly, and I certainly wouldn't be able to serve the world in the ways that I want to. So what I do is I focus on the good. I focus on the good hearts of people. I look around and I try to surround my mind and my subconscious with only positive thoughts. So I do not listen to regular radio in my car. My kids and I listen to a station called Air One, which is a Christian radio station. It's called Positive Hits Radio. I don't allow them to listen to the other radio stations. Sometimes country music, because country music has less of the, the negative like dogma on it. But I don't watch traditional news if something important is going on in the world, and I pay attention to it, but I don't sit and watch CNN and Fox News for hours on end. Like, that's a way to make yourself go crazy right there. So I just protect my subconscious of that. So be mindful if you're feeling heavy right now, be mindful about what you're allowing into your subconscious. And know that when you are in war, which we are at war for our body, minds, and spirits right now, you will need to take breaks and you need to retreat. And just like in any army, right? We're a volunteer army fighting some really evil stuff in the world. Any army at some point needs to retreat and kind of go back to their base camps and reconnect. So if you need to find a base camp, make sure you're in groups. You guys, we talked about this on our VAX 101 class this morning, but reach out to the community for support. That's why I'm always sharing people's stories. I like to interview people on here because I feel like if we stay connected, we know that we're not alone. And we're not alone because there are hundreds of thousands of like-minded people all over the world. And I know this because not hundreds of thousands reach out to me, but thousands have. And there's a lot of us. And so we're feeling the resistance of the pushback of the toxic agenda. But if you take a step back, you can see from like a global spiritual perspective that we're winning. Because if you feel the resistance from that, you guys, and you know that more and more people are talking about these issues, then we're winning, right? And we just saw all the positive stuff with the GMO happen. GMO glyphosate getting basically kicked out of the EU, and the EU standing up to the agro companies. And yes, Monsanto's merging with Bayer, and people are like, oh, well, they're still using this thing called Liberty, which is still a toxin, whatever. I mean, you can be negative all you want, but it's positive, and it was a step in the right direction that the EU is standing up to these agro companies and saying, no, don't tell us, the Monsanto papers and all that stuff really showed the fraud of what was happening in the agro world. And we're going to see the same thing with the vaccine agenda. And I know sometimes here in the US, it just feels like we're treading water and like we're going nowhere. But we've made a lot of strides, specifically in the last 2 to 3 years, especially in the United States. I think Vax had a lot to do with that. I think SB 277, even though that was a devastating law, I think that had a lot to do with it. So I think that overall, we are winning, and we're definitely we've kind of broken the threshold. I do believe that the masses are waking up, and more people are wanting to be aware of what's happening. So don't feel discouraged. Don't feel overwhelmed. I know it's so easy to do that, but know that if you were brought into this information, then you are called to do something with it, right? And so there's going to be days where it's tough and it's going to be upsetting, but if that's your purpose, then you need to listen to that, and you will find I wouldn't say joy, because I don't think it's joy, but you'll find, you'll get recharged by it on some level when you start to serve others. So if you're feeling drained by the information, and so many people are messaging me about all the CPS stuff, and you guys, yes, it is scary. I have 3 kids, so I totally get it. But if you're feeling drained by that, it probably means that you're not spending your time helping another person. So if you spend your time helping another person, a lot of that fear will start to go away. And part of the fear is what they program. Yes, Chris is saying, be with your tribe. Absolutely. So it's not going to always be easy, guys, because war never is. And spiritual warfare is an emotional war as well. So if you keep your emotional systems in balance, you take care of your physical body, your mental body, you're going to have a better capacity to be able to stand against some of the stuff that's happening, which is absolutely atrocious and it's wrong. And just by staying positive, it doesn't mean you're ignoring it. I think that's one of the things. Thanks, guys. You guys are writing the nicest comments. I appreciate that. So, just because you're positive and you're happy and you're showing love, it doesn't mean you're ignoring the injustices. Does that make sense? So I think there's a disconnect in that of wanting to, oh, did you guys see my screen flash? I hate when it does that. I feel like they take my photo. I don't know. There's me being paranoid with the agenda, but sometimes, when I do these, it'll flash on my screen. But it's all good. They're going to find me anyway. So, yeah, Kelly's on too. So I just think it's great that we all just stick together. And when you're having that tough day, have those couple people in your tribe that you can reach out to and go, oh my gosh, I'm so sad about this story. This is heavy on my heart. But then do something about it. Donate to the cause. Reach out and see if you can help the mama in need or the papa in need. Reach out and see if you can assist in any way. We need to have more volunteers of people doing things, action things, rather than just scrolling through social media. Does that make sense? And it doesn't mean your guys' posts and all the beautiful posts I see of sharing information doesn't mean that's not important. It's super important. But also the action steps, what can you do today as a light worker to do something different for the medical freedom movement, to do something different for the movement for safe food, to do something different to protect children from abuse or medical kidnapping or whatever. What can you personally do? Because if each of us take responsibility for the things that we are called to do, then that's how the global shift will happen, right? It won't just happen if all of us are just only sitting on Facebook. We have to do tangible things. That's why I spend so much time helping families get medical exemptions. I spend so much time helping them. I can't even, I should probably track so I could quantify how many families I've helped get medical exemptions, but it's probably approaching the thousands. And I'm proud to say that because I do spend a lot of my time doing that, but I think it's so important. I think it's so important that we share our resources. And I kind of think of gosh, the Underground Railroad, you guys, when the Underground Railroad was happening and slaves were being emancipated, they were saving each other and people were sharing information, and the same thing happened in World War II. And you go back and you study the stories of what was happening in World War II, and there was networks of people, and this was before the internet. So just imagine not having what we have today of people sharing resources. So I think it's important that we continue to be brave and share those resources, because it is that sort of civil rights, medical freedom movement. We do have to kind of stay below the radar, but also help each other, and then make sure that people are getting the proper resources to connect. So thank you guys. It's so nice. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about that we're dealing with this in 2017, but there's always been, throughout history, there's always going to be something that the current generation shifts. And for whatever reason, this is our responsibility. This was the burden that was handed to our generation, our culture, our time, is to try to solve these problems with medical freedom and, vaccine injury awareness and all the different stuff in our food system and all of that. So I really just wanted to come on and share that, to not be overwhelmed by it, but to, when you're feeling that way, to get into action. Get into action and go help someone, go serve someone, go join a group, make sure you're connected into your tribe, and do something positive with the emotions that you're feeling, because the rage can turn into love and passion if you channel it properly. So I just really quick, guys, that's all I wanted to share. I agree with Colleen, we need to figure out how to stop medical kidnapping, but we also can't live in fear that CPS is going to come to everybody's house. We can't, function in that way. So I think it's important to share these stories, to speak out, to see how we can donate to help the parents that are dealing with the medical kidnapping, because you guys, money creates solutions. Money makes the world go round. So when you have more money, you have more solutions for people, and you can help in different ways. So, I think that's, Yvonne saying the globalists are very worried. They are super worried. You guys, there's so many more people. There's so many more of us than there are of them. They're very, very small, and they're fearful because they're weak. And when people get scared, when people are fearful, it means they're weak. And so we have to just be the braver ones, right? We have to rise above that. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys today, was just kind of stay calm within the eye of the storm. I think we're really close to seeing some really pivotal things shift in the next, 12 to 24 months. So the next 2 years, I really pray, and my vision is that a lot of things are going to shift for the positive. We're going to see a lot of stuff. I love that people are sharing hearts and thumbs. I'm going to give you a Facebook algorithm tip really quick. For those of you that are on feeds or on lives and you're sharing medical freedom journals, blogs, all of this stuff, stories, whatever it is, lives like this, don't use the angry or sad icons. Facebook blocks those. They don't send them as far. So always use the thumbs up or the hearts, which is really important. And thank you guys for all the love. I appreciate it. But just so you know, that Facebook will actually block the ones. So if you're watching a great story about medical freedom, or you're sharing a story about medical kidnapping, or whatever it is that you're sharing on your feeds, or vaccine injury and stuff, make sure to not use the sad faces and the cry face and the angry face, even though we want to feel that way inside. We want to just share love, 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 love. Facebook sees the hearts. It puts them all over. It makes the video or whatever it is we're sharing more powerful. So Morgan D, I did respond to your PM. Please get her in touch with me. I just mentioned it a second ago. Morgan D has a girlfriend who was forced given the DTaP vaccine during pregnancy, and she had a spontaneous abortion, and she is suing that situation. She's going to sue. So I'm going to try to connect with her and help her. So prayers for that mama going through that fight, and prayers for the various parents that are dealing with the CPS medical kidnapping issues. We pray for you, and we're supporting you. So thanks guys for being on. Just don't give up and don't let it be draining. Just know that you are spiritually aligned in a cause, and this is spiritual warfare. So we have to stay really, really strong and committed. And I think that great things are going to happen within the next year to 2 years. So keep up the great work, guys. Love you. We'll see you soon. Bye.